Good morning, class 10. Open your history books to page 19. The topic is the making of Germany and Italy. This particular section deals with the unification of Germany and Italy. We will come to know how these two states became unified into nation states. Go to 4.1. It deals with Germany. And the question asked here is, can the army be the architect of a nation? You will read how the Prussian army helped the chief minister of Prussia to unify the German Confederation into a nation state. In 1848, nationalist feelings were widespread among the middle-class Germans. They tried to unite the different regions of the German Confederation into a nation state, governed by an elected parliament. However, it was repressed by the combined forces of the monarchy, the military, as well as supported by Junkers. Who were Junkers? Junkers were large landowners of Prussia. Now it was on Prussia to take on the leadership of the movement for the unification of Germany. The chief minister, Otto von Bismarck, was the architect of the whole process. He was helped by the Prussian army and bureaucracy. 3 wars over 7 years were fought with Austria, Denmark and France, which ended in Prussian victory. This victory completed the process of unification. In January 1871, the Prussian king, William I, was proclaimed the German emperor. Princes of the German states, representatives of the army, and important Prussian ministers gathered at the Hall of Mirrors in the Palace of Versailles to proclaim the new German Empire. The new state placed great emphasis on modernizing the currency, banking, legal and judicial systems in Germany. Prussian measures and practices became the model for the rest of Germany. We move on to 4.2, Italy unified. Here we will read how Italy was divided into 7 different states. Each state was ruled by different kings except Sardinia Piedmont, that was ruled by an Italian king. Italy was divided into 7 states, of which only Sardinia Piedmont was ruled by an Italian king. The north was under the Austrian Habsburgs. The central part of Italy, that is Rome, was under the Pope, and southern regions were under the Bourbon kings of Spain. The Italian language had not acquired one common form and still had many regional and local variations. In the 1830s, Mazzini tried to put together a program for a unitary Italian republic. However, the failure of revolutionary uprisings in 1831 and 1848 meant that this task fell on Sardinia Piedmont under Victor Emmanuel II to unify Italy through war. The ruling elites believed that a unified Italy offered them economic development and political dominance. Chief Minister Cavour led the movement to unify the regions of Italy. Through a tactful diplomatic alliance with France, Sardinia-Piedmont succeeded in defeating the Austrian forces in 1859. A large number of armed volunteers, led by Garibaldi, marched into South Italy and the kingdoms of the two Sicilies and succeeded in driving out the Spanish in 1860. In 1861, Victor Emmanuel II was proclaimed the King of United Italy. We move on to 4.3. The strange case of Britain. Some scholars argue that the model of a nation state is Britain. So, how did Britain become a nation state? The formation of Britain into a nation state was the result of a long-drawn process. The British Isles were inhabited by English, Welsh, Scot, and Irish. Thus, there was no British nation state prior to the 18th century. Each of these groups had their own cultural and political traditions. As the English nation steadily grew in wealth, importance, and power, it extended its influence over other nations of the islands. The Act of Union between England and Scotland's distinctive culture and political institutions was suppressed. Catholic clans suffered terrible repression. Large numbers of Catholics were forcibly driven out of their homeland. Ireland suffered the same fate. The English helped the Protestants to establish their dominance over the Catholics. Catholic revolts were suppressed. In 1801, Ireland was forcibly incorporated into the United Kingdom. Thus, a new British nation was formed. The symbols of New Britain were the British flag, the Union Jack, the national anthem, God Save Our Noble King, and the English language were actively promoted. We move on to the last topic of chapter 1, visualizing the nation. Artists in the 18th and 19th centuries found a way of personifying a nation. What is personifying? Personifying means representing a nation as it were a person. Nations were portrayed as female figures. These female figures chosen did not stand for any woman in real life. Rather, it sought to give abstract idea of the nation a concrete form. The female figure became an allegory of the nation. During the French Revolution, artists used female allegories to portray ideas such as liberty, justice, and the republic. These ideals were represented through specific objects of symbols. Liberty was represented by the red cap or the broken chains, while justice was represented by a blindfolded woman carrying a pair of weighing scales. This image is usually seen in the courts of law. Female allegories were invented to represent the nation. In France, she was named Mariam. In Germany, she was Germania. In the US was the Statue of Liberty. And in India, we have the Bharat Mata. Now class 10, go through pages 23, 24 and 25. Study the pictures of the female allegories given. Secondly, don't get too worked up with the written work. You have to complete one chapter in history and one chapter in political science for April. Then the second chapter in both for May, and the third chapter in June. I realize that you have classes to attend plus other subjects. So don't spend your entire time doing your SST because you have all the writing work to do. My next videos will be in Political Science Chapter 1.